Welcome to Trinity College Dublin, people. I know you've had a very productive morning session. I couldn't make it myself. I had to attend an Irish Rail board, but I did have the privilege of looking through the presentations earlier, and I think it really sets the scene for the future of railways in Ireland. I think Andrew Ebrel, first of all, set out the strategic rail review for the whole island, and then that led into technical papers talking about how we're going to achieve it. This afternoon is more about the people that are going to help us achieve the objectives of transforming the railways in Ireland. And then finally, we're going to have a look at the whole issue of sustainability, which I think really has been a very supporting initiative for railways in Ireland. Railways are nothing if they're not green, and certainly with the level of investment we have got and are getting, the sustainability agenda actually has been very supportive to us. So this afternoon session, as I say, is going to kick off with our colleagues from Translink talking about their apprenticeship leadership initiative. So I'll call the Translink team up to the front. So I don't know whether you need mics, guys, but this presentation is looking at the introduction of bespoke apprenticeship program in Translink and aspires to cover the inception, development, embedment and outcome over what has been a 5-year journey. So Mervyn, take over.
Thanks, Eamon. Hi afternoon, everybody. Hope you had a good lunch. I'm going to do something slightly different for this afternoon. We're going to go with a bit of a panel discussion, give a bit of a break from PowerPoint and speeches. As much as anything, it means I don't have to talk as much as somebody else gets a turn on it. So I'll be Michael Parkinson for the next 15 minutes. Yes, as Eamon said, look, we're going to talk about the Translink apprenticeship program. And I think just reflecting on this morning, a lot of really good ambition, a lot of transformational ideas, technologies, projects. But the one thing they all have in common is people and the need for people. And I suppose from our point of view, that was something that we reflected on a few years ago. I'm not going to introduce the whole panel. You can see behind who we are and what we do and how we've been involved in the programme. So, yeah, that'll sit in the background as we go through the presentation. I suppose we'll really start with the why and the business justification. Why an apprenticeship programme for Translink? And it really came about with, I suppose we took a long, hard look at things about 2018, 2019 at the workforce. We've been going along well, competent workforce, but time creeps up on you, a bit like the asset condition we're talking about this morning. You go, oh, we've got a problem now, how are we going to get over this? So we looked at the condition of our human assets as well as our physical assets and decided what we were going to do. And in GB, certainly there was good research done with City and Guilds and the National Skills Academy, the NSAR for Rail, and it painted a stark picture for the future in GB with skill shortages set to escalate significantly and talk of between 7,000 and 12,000 additional people needed every year to deliver the ambition we had. And there would also be a large number of skilled workers leaving. Up to 28% of workers in the rail industry were aged over 50 in 2020, which meant some 15,000 could be due to retire by 25. Roll forward in Northern Ireland Railways, Translink, and what did it look like for us? Worse, unfortunately. We had 80% of the permanent way workforce were aged over 50 in 2020. And of those, approximately 40% could be at a point where they would retire in the next 5 years. So that's the why. That then told us, right, we need to do something. And we are, on this island, a small network. And it's difficult to pick the people up. So we decided, well, we're going to have to make the people. And we then branched out on an apprenticeship program. But it had been the first part of the apprenticeship program. My job's easy. I looked at this team and I go, okay, we need an apprenticeship program. Good luck with that. If you need me to do anything, I'll do it. And the people today are really going to talk about how they brought it in. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to learn as much as you because a lot of this has been done without me being massively involved in it. And that's the strength of the team I have that they deliver for me. So we're going to start with the how. We're going to keep it fairly simple, fairly basic, and we're going to start with how did we introduce the apprenticeship program in Translink? How did we get it embedded within the business? How did we get support? And how did we actually then get it out on the market? I suppose I'm going to pass to Wilma first of all. Wilma, okay. How did you manage it?
Thanks very much, Mervyn. I think the first thing coming to my head was, well, don't mess this up. because you only get one bite of the cherry. We were very much involved in recognising that we had a need within our own organisation, which we need to address. But we're also trying to address an industry need, where perhaps we were bringing in qualifications that were going to be recognised across the whole of the industry. We had a situation in Northern Ireland where we didn't have the apprenticeship framework for level 3. So there was a lot of work done initially trying to get the CCEA, Department of Education, to recognise qualifications that were specifically for the rail industry. We had colleges that were perhaps trying to say, well, look, you could go for mechanical engineering or you go for electrical engineering. But we were very determined that we were actually going to get rail qualifications. So we determined that we were going to use the City and Guilds level 2 and level 3 qualifications. That specifically because it benchmarked already within the GB, as it were, but also it was also transferable qualifications that we could go elsewhere. So we had one college who was prepared to try and get involved in that. We recognised as an external stakeholder they maybe didn't necessarily have the knowledge of the railway. So it was very much working in partnership with the college and one of our own supply team to try and drive that forward. So there was that sort of compared workshop that was basically going to say, you can take this part of it and we can support the other elements of it. And then it was about talking to our internal teams. First time we had done it within the PWI, so there was a lot of apprehension, what's it going to mean, what's it going to involve. So we sat down, talked to our unions, we talked to our track section engineers, we talked to our staff and said, this is what's going to be involved, this is who's going to be involved in it, and this is how we're going to try and deliver it. And I suppose really that's where, Neil, where you come into the picture, as it were.
Yeah, so I was in the maintenance team originally for Translink, and then there was a new job role created as a trainer and assessor within the Permanent Way department. Applied for it and got it. So to me, I broke the trend of conciliary staff not moving into management. So breaking the glass ceiling, so to speak. So it was a job that I'm going to enjoy this. I love working with the tools. I love working with people. And the apprenticeship programme was basically laid in my lap, I must admit, and got the job. And 4 weeks later, I had 7 apprentices in front of me. So it was really, really good. To bridge that gap between the existing staff and the new apprentices and sort of getting the amalgamation of people moving forward within the company.
On that, Neil, it's interesting. So we talked about the how, but you said about bringing the new apprentices in. So that's how Translink introduced it, but how did it become how did the awareness build with the apprentices? How did the apprentices become aware of the apprenticeship scheme? We're lucky enough today with 2 apprentices, or 1 past apprentice, 1 current apprentice with us. And I'm interested, it is a people business, so how did the apprenticeship scheme become aware to yourselves, if you don't mind? Matthew, you have the mic, you're up first.
Yep, for me, I came externally. I had no railway experience beforehand. I came from a retail background, but after finishing school, I had done an engineering course, just a basic one, and I always wanted to get back into it, so I left retail behind. I looked at apprenticeships because I didn't want to go back to studying full time, and then just found the Translink one on the website, researched it, sounded interesting, and I went and applied for it, and thankfully I got it, so I was happy days, like so.
Very good. And Danny, retail background, or where do you come from?
No, I have a bit of a different background. I was a bus driver with Translink for 8 years prior to applying for the apprenticeship. It was a good job, but I wasn't really getting much job satisfaction or interest gain out of it. Always had an interest in engineering. Started looking into other jobs. Nearly by accident, I came across the infrastructure apprenticeships on the Translink's internal website. Applied. When I researched it, it really piqued my interest. Although I worked within the same company, nobody sees that side from the buses. You don't see, even within the railway, you don't see what Permanent Way do. So it was kind of a peek behind the curtain. So it really piqued my interest, and I'm lucky enough to be here now.
Okay, very good. So that's covered off a lot of the how. How did we introduce the apprenticeship scheme? And I suppose, having introduced it then, it's been, well, how many years has it been now? 2 years, 3 years?
We're now into our 4th year, actually, Mervyn.
4th year. So what does success look like? How do you measure success? how do people reflect on it? And maybe the apprentices had the mic, maybe just pass back the apprentices again. Has it been successful for you? How's it worked out for you? How have you found it 2 or 3 years on? Matthew, please.
Well, for me, obviously, now that I'm 2.5 years in, after the 2 years, I got my level 2 City and Guilds Rail Engineering diploma. And from that, I've now been able to get a full-time job as a track person 3. So it's just a step up from track person 2. It's just more responsibility, more safety orientated as well, really as well. So, but I also have the potential to do level 3 and then potentially other qualifications, maybe with the PWI themselves, just to further my learning.
And that's something that's open to you. When you finished the level 2 and became embedded in the squad, then that journey of continual learning is keeping going, is it? You've got something else to keep going on?
Yeah, I don't know the full details myself, but I know it's been talked about that we'll be doing more courses hopefully. And
I'll maybe take over from this point. Just to explain, the training that we developed was initially a 12-week intensive induction programme. We had like 4 core modules that we wanted to build into that. It was basically about safety. It was about understanding the technical elements within the job. It was about team building, and it was about building that Translink spirit as we have it within the organisation, really the culture. And we wanted to expose the apprentices as soon as they came in through the door to what it was really like to work in the rail industry. So we took them out, exposed them to all the weather conditions, the worst night shifts you could ever want to experience. We took them out so they knew what you were getting yourself into. We had various team building activities that we got them involved in. I think sometimes Neil thought I was really lost in the plot, and somebody had to sign off on Lego, which we'll not talk about at this moment in time, but it's trying to expose that, but it's really about trying to develop that culture, because once you invest in apprentices, they share an awful lot with you. They bring skills into the industry that perhaps we didn't have, but it also allowed our own staff to work alongside these guys to share their experience that they had and they brought to the table. So you had that transfer of knowledge and skills with it. We didn't have appoint mentors. The mentors just automatically came to the top and really supported the apprentices the whole way through. So I think, Danny, maybe you had that same experience.
Yeah, the initial 12-week period really helped us hit the ground running. When we went in the squads, we were up to date with terminology. If we were asked for a tool, you went to the van and you got the tool that you needed. Being kind of coming and hitting the ground running really helped us integrate within the squads, and everybody was so welcoming. Even during the 12-week period, our main base would be in Millwater Service Centre in Belfast. And if you were passing senior management in the stairs, they stopped and talked to you. They knew you by name. To me, that was kind of alien, but it's a real team.
Okay, and Neil, interested just to get the perspective of everybody. Success for you, you came from the squad into the MPT role. Beneficial for you as well, or how's that worked out? I would say you have your fair share of headaches, but going okay?
Yes. Yeah, so moving up, yeah, it was new. It was hard. So you knew what was going on in the squads, but you were trying to keep your management head on. But again, you're passing down the experience and passing down what you know and the understanding and the knowledge. So to me, it was personally giving something back. Running about the railway for about 25 years now. So it's great to see the achievements of current, and obviously Matthew has moved up into full-time job role. So again, there's a successful story, should we say. So people can move up, and the opportunities for careers within Translink is there. So anybody else applying can see the previous apprentices have moved up. Myself, personally, I've got my PWI diploma, I've got more technical skills. I'm learning every day, so to me every day is a school day too, you know. And
Wilma, from a department's point of view, from the PWI department's point of view, how have you found it in terms of success? Is it working for us? Are we hitting the numbers we wanted? What's success look like for you and the wider PWI department?
I think certainly from the department's point of view, success is now looking that this year in our recruitment campaign, we've doubled the numbers of applicants that actually wanted to apply to the permanent way. We have all genders applying and starting within the permanent way as well, which is superb with it. All the apprentices that started with us have completed and have stuck with us. Those who have managed to gain their qualifications, they have achieved them. We have somebody sitting in the panel who's been recognised as a Northern Ireland Public Sector Apprentice of the Year. No pressure there, Danny. And he's also been recognised as a FE lifelong learner. So again, when you see that success, but that success builds the reliability, the trust within the squads. And whenever you look to see just the fact that we have retained so many apprentices working alongside existing staff, that existing staff given the opportunity to share their knowledge. And also we have the opportunity now to share those qualifications with our existing staff as well. So there's a cross-fertilisation really of the growth that we have within this, which started really from somebody's concept of let's introduce apprentices.
And the world loves a metric, Wilma. In terms of metrics, you said some there, what, it's 100% success rate at the minute through college, 100% retention rate.
Yep, so far.
And hitting your numbers again for this year, I think, aren't
Numbers this year, we've doubled our applications that have come in. It's the highest number we're actually trying to recruit. We're trying to recruit 12. This year we've got 12 definitely who signed up, plus we have a further group of reserves, which is amazing. We also introduced the apprentices to try and recruit for us this year as well, because we thought no better team to go out there and explain what actually apprentice does than the guys involved in it. And whenever you see the apprentices standing at a PR event, recruitment campaign, they've got their phones out, they're explaining what they see, what jobs they've done, that's really what success is. And it's really about developing the people. And for those guys to go out there and be our ambassadors, it hasn't been easy. We compete with everybody else from an apprentice point of view, but we also have different ways in which we recruit, which has been an interesting concept. But every year we change and we listen to the feedback from our apprentices, from our staff, to try and make sure we hit it right. So I don't know whether Matthew would agree with me or not.
Oh, like 100%. I would agree, definitely. Like, so, well, I suppose I have to say that as well, don't I? But, no, but it's sort of like Wilma said. It's like we've been involved with the PR campaigns and stuff like that and trying to recruit. Obviously, me and Danny are here today. Like, it's so far out of our comfort zone. Like, we're back on track tomorrow morning, sort of thing. So we are. So it's out of the comfort zone, but if it helps further the program, I'm all for it. Like, when new apprentices come in, we'll help them out. We know what they've been through, so we're going to be fully involved in helping them out and becoming mentors ourselves more than anything. So.
Okay, very good. Right, we're going to tighten you now. It's going to get a bit harder now. We've looked at the why, we've looked at the how, we've measured success. The bit I'm interested in, and this is going to be hard for engineers because we're getting into the softer underbelly of things now. The culture, the behaviours. I look in the apprenticeship programme and I don't understand how you did it, because you can have a procedure or a process, but how do you actually do it in practice? There has to be ownership involved there up and down the panel. And I know, Wilma, certainly I know from being in our office the time that you and Neil spend with them. Is that something you were aware of at the start, a conscious decision that, look, it's okay writing this down on paper, it's okay talking about what we're meant to do, you've got to live and breathe this? Was that something you found? Because it's something I'm genuinely interested in, is how did you get the cultural bit, the leadership bit to get it right, or have you just got lucky?
Bit of both. No, we thought quite long and hard about what we wanted to put into the programme. We recognised that we had building blocks to work with, and that we needed to have a starting point. We knew what the end point was going to be. How we got there was a degree of planning, but at the same time having flexibility. It was very much about recognising the skills within the team, the learning skills that we have within the group that we were working with, and each group that we've had has been continually different. So it was developing that programme, exposing them, as I say, to the night shifts, creating. So the first programme we had, we were trying to get the guys to unclip, and we now have got somebody who is recognised as the guy who you want in a squad to unclip, because he just flies up and down that track. Don't know whether, Neil's that your skills based or not, but it was that kind of blended programme with the technical skills as well as the soft skills, recognising the development within each individual, and making that individual see that they contribute to the team and they contribute to the team. I think that's it, and it's about trust.
Yeah. I think as well, knowing Neil, you're very closely apprentices. You would be the link between the management and the apprentices. I presume there's the odd difficult conversation too. You know, it's not all positive. It's keeping people on track, literally and metaphorically at times too, to get the culture right.
Life's not easy. Life's not rosy. And if anybody knows me here, I'm usually the first person to say something to them, so usually gets me in trouble. But my mouth sometimes goes before my brain. But I have to say, with as Wilma said about the succession and the programme, it was hard work. We usually maybe argued a wee bit, and it was streamlined. But at the end of the day, you just do as you're told, you know. Because Wilma's usually right, I must admit. But going back to the sort of the team ethic and contributing as a team, we can't leave out the rest of the team within the PWI. You've got your sexton engineers, your track works coordinators, current staff, of course, the management team itself. It all comes round in a full circle, and everybody contributed to the whole apprenticeship programme, in my opinion. The mentors, the buddy system that we had, like it all just went full circle, and it shows the success that we have, that we've got that 100% retention rate and 100% success rate.
Apprentices, keen to know as well. As you say, Matthew, you've given the game away. You've got to say yes. But how is that something you can reflect on when you look at the squads and you see how it goes? You know, did you feel valued? A very modern word, but did you feel valued? Did you feel you weren't nobody sent for stripy paint running in day 3? No, none of that. Carry on.
No, nothing like that. Well, a wee bit of that, but also the other work involved as well. But I think the initial training really helped. The fact that we were able to come into the squads and jump straight in to the tools. We knew what we were doing. It's not as if the more experienced men had to babysit us, basically. We were able to get on with the work. But look, I can't speak highly enough for the guys in my squad. Like, they've been brilliant with me ever since we came in. All the apprentices, they've been brilliant, and yeah, it's just been enjoyable. It's definitely something that I view for the future, and yeah, it's
Very good.
going
Okay.
well. Like.
Okay, Wilma, we're getting towards wrapping up. What would you change? You know, not necessarily looking back. What would you change moving forward in terms of continuous improvement and so on? I take it this evolves further, because I know we'll get big numbers this year and bigger numbers in the past. So something must be working or something must be changing.
I think it's listening to the feedback. We do change the programme subtly every year, following that feedback from apprentices. We listen to, if they tell us, like, you've given us too much technology at the start, you're giving us too much terminology, or we're not happy with being out there on the track and getting that track experience. So we do that. We've also changed our recruitment campaigns, and that will continue to change to attract individuals into the railway. It's a business, it's about people, it's a career, it's about an opportunity, it's an industry that's going to be around permanently. So I think we have to change with the technology. We have to embrace that, and we have to give those skills to our future employees. And that's what we need to do, and that's the changes we'll have to keep focusing with. So the likes of PWI giving us ideas, following up on the courses that they can offer, that's something that we can then cascade out to our apprentices and benefit them.
Okay, very good. Look, by way of summary, I got some figures given to me over lunch that they're useful to reflect on. I said at the start of the slides, in 2020, 80% of the PWI was aged over 50. And of those, 40% may well retire in the next 5 years. Now, 32% of the PWI is over 50, a big reduction. And of those, only 20% could be at a point where they're likely to retire in the next 5 years. And the apprenticeship programme now accounts for more than 30% of the workforce in permanent way. So I think we'd really have struggled to get there without that. And I'd certainly struggled to get through the last 20 minutes without the panel. So thanks very much, everybody, and thanks for everybody's attention.
Just hang on a second, Mervyn. I think the format normally is we have questions at the end of the session, but I think it's appropriate because the panel is up here that you take questions now, so you're not off the hook yet. So any questions for the group?
Yeah, I've got one. Can I grab the microphone? The first thing I want to say is thank you for that. That's a fantastic presentation to us, and tremendously uplifting, actually, as a railway engineer, to hear the work you're doing for the next generation. That is brilliant. So I'm also going to act like a politician, and I've got the microphone to ask a question, and I'm not going to do that first. You said you've done the diploma, Neil, I think. Yep. The PWI diploma for the uninitiated is a really powerful tool in your armoury to develop your careers as apprentices, as you know, Neil. I can only advocate that you, at the earliest opportunity when you're ready for it, that you decide to take that diploma course to enhance your path to registration. So now I come to the question. Yes, we're having a general election on the 4th. No, that's not the question. You've graphically, at the end of your session, illustrated the hemorrhaging of experienced people out of our industry, something that happens in England as well, and the need somehow to secure the chain of knowledge that gets that experience passed on into the apprenticeships. Have you considered pulling some grey-haired old people out of their current roles into the mentoring process within your programme?
Yeah, I think we've been very lucky in that with the age of the workforce, we were concerned that would they, the existing team, whenever you start talking about the existing team about change and we're thinking of bringing in new people, at first it was a reluctance, but it's been amazing how the teams who know they're coming into the last 5 or 6 years of their working life have been really keen to pass on their knowledge and leave something behind them. And I think that's back to what Willem and so on do. Those conversations with people to say, look, where somebody's in the last 5 or 6 years of their career, we do work night shift, we work a lot of night shift, we work a lot of darkness. The guys find it harder, and we're actually looking now at a transition period for them too, to say, look, we know you're going to be going in 4 or 5 years, but what we don't want is that cold break, that it's over. So certainly the relationships the guys have built up with the other generation, and not everything can be taught. You know, the guys give some great examples that this machine's hard to start, but somebody told me if you undo the cap and put it back on again, it gets a wee bit of air, and that'll get the two-stroke going. And those things, I don't think we could ever teach that. So that, I think that was one of the strengths of starting this 5 years ago, was we knew we were going to be in trouble in 5 years. So instead of waiting until we come up against the trouble, we identified it a bit earlier. And yeah, there's a fair bit of grey hair about. It's not going to get any darker.
Any more questions?
From Amy. Wilma, it's a question for you. I think I heard you say that you'd got quite a good balance from a gender point of view in your applicants for the position. Is that right?
Yep, we have.
It's notoriously difficult to get that kind of balance. What is it do you think you've done? Because if you look around the room here, you can see we're not particularly gender balanced. So what is it you've done to make it more attractive for that gender balance within the organisation?
We have gone out to, we do a lot of recruitment with various colleges, with schools, with those sorts of events. And I think that we have a core group of females who are engineers who've gone out to those events across all sectors, where it's PWI or where it's S&T or ICT or construction in general. Those act as ambassadors, and then we have females within the PWI. We've one girl at the minute who's with us, and she has been absolutely very vocal within her own groups to try and advertise the fact that this is a career for females, because I think it was seen before that there was a lot of heavy engineering, and I'm not getting away from that. You know, using a Kango can be difficult, but with the techniques and with training people to how to use it correctly, giving support with your colleagues, that teamwork will actually help you develop. And I think it's really about building people. And if the people's there and the culture's right, then you can have those ambassadors, and it doesn't matter whether it's male, female, or whoever, or what gender you prescribe to. It's a career, and I think that's where we have to go with it.
Take one more question before we move on, if there's one more question. If not, that's fine. I'd like to just make a comment. I think this is an amazing initiative by Translink. I'm involved in a number of technical groups in the UK and Ireland, and skill shortage in the railway industry is palpable. This is a tremendous way to actually grow your own, and well done. It's a tremendous initiative, so I congratulate you on that. So you're off the hook now. Thank you very much.